Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Octopus. I finally got his second potential unlocked. So let's go ahead and see what makes the good doctor tick. We've got a CTP of energy rocking on him. And I'm happy to report that his rework has been quite substantial. As you can see here, we're already knocking on the door of the second. That's right, the second phase. We're flying through this. Already 40 bars into the fight. We're going to get stunned here with 30 seconds gone by. But yeah, Dr. Octopus is a massive monster. And it basically just comes down to the devs' design choice. They divided up his... we're not going to use the 6th skill here. Okay, we're gonna lose some time. This is unfortunate because we got stunned twice out of our rotation. But basically, they took his uniform effect from his old uniform, from his No Way Home uniform, and they made it, they basically split it and they put it on 2 skills. So now instead of having a 15% heal that activates on a 10-second cooldown on his uniform, he has a 25% heal that's on a skill, which is so much better. You can proc it all the time. You know, you can proc it every rotation. Very, very good. That's the first big change they made. The second big change they made, rather than giving him a 200% damage proc, again on a 10-second timer, they gave him a 100% damage proc on his 4th skill. But still, a 100% damage proc that you can trigger all the time, turns out is actually better than a 200% damage proc that you cannot trigger all the time. So, yeah, that's basically how it goes for Dr. Octopus, and he's sort of flying through this. I kind of wasted his awakening skill there a little bit because I was just trying to push through that spike phase. But yeah, as you can see, he sort of flies through this content very easily. A little bit slower than Green Goblin, I would say. But yeah, Green Goblin's kind of insane. But still very, very good. Much tankier. You know, it's still very proc friendly, which is the nice thing to report about Dr. Octopus. Still very, very, very proc friendly. Basically haven't missed a proc this entire time, you know. And unlike Green Goblin, you can see he's got 40,000, almost 40,000, 30,000 more HP, and that means that he can sit here tanking this attack much more easily than Green Goblin could. We're still gonna have to zip out here at the end. Oh, we still died. No shot. But yeah, that's stage 39. So yeah, he crushes it. We'll take a quick look at the build, and then we'll go back into some more content, and then we'll also test him at level 80 to see how much of an upgrade that is. And generally speaking, it's a pretty nice upgrade. We're going to go ahead and unlock the second potential since we're here on the screen. Boom! Genius Reborn. God, is he ugly. We have 1 Odin's Blessing here on this build. Very, very pedestrian Uru. We don't have any of the skills leveled up past level 6. Rank 4 type enhancement. Power of Angry Hulk stage 12. We do have a 4-star artifact, so that does factor into his damage versus Null and Gorr. Keep that in mind, right? A 4-star artifacts means you get 15% additional damage, and that's going to scale even higher if you get into tier 4 because of the instinct. And then we have just a regular CTP of energy. It's a very good roll, 42% ignore dodge, 200% damage proc. But yeah, they basically fixed his skills in all the ways that I was hoping, right? They changed the 15% heal to a 25% heal, which is really good. And now because it's on his 3rd skill, you have that buff all the time. And then they changed his 4th skill to give him a 100% damage proc, which is very nice. And then he also has a frenzy buff for 40/40, which means you can soft cap his crit rate at, I think, like 35%, which is very low. Keep in mind that with the Sinister 6 tag, you can take advantage of, you know, Kraven's passive if you really wanted to. Also, of course, I think just Kraven, or maybe no, just Kraven. And then because he has the machine tag, he can also take advantage of War Machine's passive. I think it's War Machine or Hulkbuster. Anywho, let's go back into some content and see how he does against other bosses. Here we go against Ultron, stage 25. Notoriously, this was a very difficult stage when Ultron launched last year for villains in general who did not have either brilliant CTPs or, well, this was before tier 4 existed. But as you can see here, even at just level 70, he's now able to take out this stage very easily. We've gotten already 6 bars down in 30 seconds, which is very competitive here. So massive power spike for these characters. Did he not dash 3 times already? What the hell? Am I cooked? What? Had he not, he only dashed twice. And then he baited me into this shit. All right, movement speed wise, we can check on Dr. Octopus. You can see here, very easy to control. Very fast dude. We can easily, nice, do that. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we can pop off with our big combo here. And he's going to do a few bars at least. Not bad. Still kind of traumatized that Ultron baited me. But yeah, the nice thing about Dr. Octopus, one of the really nice things that I think isn't talked about enough about characters, is his consistency. His damage is so consistent. Now, you do get a bit of a bump from the 6th skill. It does do a little bit more damage when you cancel 5, 3, 4 into 6. But unlike other characters who basically rely on their big ultimate skill, whether it's Awakening or a tier 3 to do damage, Dr. Octopus doesn't. And of course, as soon as I say that, he misses his proc and it looks like his damage is garbage. Okay. Very cool, Dr. Octopus. Very cool. But yeah. The damage somehow seems shitty. Right after I said that, I jinxed myself or something. Let's take a look here. You don't even have to cancel that quickly because there's a massive delay on 5. So, okay, yeah, I don't know. The damage is a little sussy. I think we are missing procs now. I swear, dude, so cursed. So cursed. But yeah, 5 cancel 3. What the hell just happened? There's no damage, dude. Okay, he iframed me. Yeah, literally right after I said, that's crazy, dude. Right after I said that his damage was really consistent, he just flopped like a fish. That's messed up, dude. That is messed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I didn't press the 3rd skill for some reason. Okay. Yeah, he can clearly do this, which is really good. Now, I don't think he'll be able to do 30 Gorr, but this is one of those stages we're going to test him on. And one thing I want to highlight here is how many stages Dr. Octopus can do. This is a really important thing that we highlight for a lot of other characters, so it's only fair to also highlight it for Dr. Octopus. He can do a lot of stages. A lot. Don't want to die there. Now, he's not doing as bad as I thought he was going to do on this stage, but we do want to highlight what he can do, because then we want to see how much faster he gets at level 80, right? Not going to take him to tier 4 in this video, obviously, but the level 80 jump is something to highlight. We missed the 3rd skill, which means we don't get the 40% attack bonus and the extra damage. It's a bit unfortunate, but yeah, didn't think he was going to be able to do this anyways. So we get about 4 bars down in 45 seconds. I don't want to do this whole fight here. Okay, so he's quite strong at level 70 tier 3. I don't know if I would say he's better than Green Goblin. He certainly has less utility since the combat villain class is much more crowded than the speed villain class. So if I was going to make a comparison between the two of them at level 70, Green Goblin, Red Goblin almost exclusively wins, right? He has a much better leadership. He has a support passive, which Dr. Octopus doesn't have. And then he's in a very niche category. Whereas for Dr. Octopus, you can have him compete versus Namor. You can have him compete versus Carnage, versus Hulk, versus Moon Knight, Venom, Captain America. Like, he just has way too much competition. But that's at level 70. Right now, let's go ahead and take him to level 80 and see what we are cooking with. Oh yeah, we got the easy setup, 100%. Oh boy, right? Yeah, such a useless thing that they introduced here. But use the Dr. Octopus bios, get him up to 72, and then we're just gonna flash forward our way to level 80. Let's do this. I still don't want to fast forward through this content, but yeah, it is what it is. Just because this is still the most, like, you know, some of the most expensive stuff you can do in the game. But one thing that I was going to wait until later in the video to talk about, but I can just talk about now quickly, is how much Dr. Octopus competes with other characters in his category, despite being in such a... oh, we're going to use Life Seed here. Despite being in such a crowded category, right? So we talked about how, you know, we talked about how he's a combat type, and at level 70, he doesn't really have... he doesn't have many ways to differentiate himself, in the sense of, like, if you have a level 80 Hulk or Namor or Carnage or whatever, then he's going to do better. But the thing is, the really interesting thing is, once you compare them at tier 4, back to that stage 25 Ultron, we're not going to test them out on stage 39 Null because it's just way too low. Let's go ahead and see how much more he pops off here with the level 80 increase. This should be, yeah, this should be a shit show. Absolutely nutty. 10 bars in one rotation. We go right into the next rotation. Another, holy bro, he's flying. I know 25 is a low stage, but he is flying, brother. He is flying. So 22 seconds into the fight, and Ultron is on his last 8 bars. 22 seconds. He just obliterates Ultron. It's not even close. What about 34 Gorr? We're not even going to do 30 Gorr. We're going to go up to 34 Gorr. Let's see how he does here. Against the bald Asgardian killer. Very nice. He does more damage in one rotation than he had done in the full 45 seconds prior. We do get snared there, but it's okay. He also has very nice range on his skills, Dr. Octopus does, which means you can queue them up from pretty far away, but it sort of tracks quite well. So there you go. In 27 seconds, he's able to trigger the next phase of Gorr, which is sensational. I may have called Gorr and Null at the beginning of this fight. Wrong Necro Sword user. We're going to make him dash over here. And the nice thing here about Dr. Octopus is he's tanky enough. Look at this. He tanks those hits very nicely. He actually tanks a lot of hits. Very nicely. So in the first phase, we get him down to 8 bars. Massive improvement. He can easily do this fight here at level 80 with just a CTP of energy. Now, Null 74 is a bit of a different beast. You don't have very many supports to choose from, so we're going to use things. We're going to use Thing on the support side for the CTP of Insight, and then we're going to use She-Hulk Lead. She-Hulk Lead is actually very, very good, and you can see here he still pops off on 74 with a regular energy at just level 80. Very, very nice stuff here. Wow, look at that rotation, bro. 9 bars. Really nice stuff here. I think we may have missed our proc, but it's okay. We dodged the cage. His damage is just so nice. Okay, we get knocked back. It's okay. He's fast enough to pull himself back into the fold. Very nice. We're going to try to dodge the cage. I don't like doing this strategy because it wastes a lot of time in case you miss. But hey, we got it to work. We got it to fold. And now we're going to fold Null, bro. He's just flying through this stage at level 80. Very nicely done. Super easy. Super high damage. Look at that. And, man, he's ugly, but it's hard to argue with performance like this. He gets invincibility, so he has guard break immunity. 1 minute on 74. This is really nice. Really, really nice. And we're going to be able to pop off the 6th skill here. There we go. We may... I think we procced early. Unfortunate. Yeah, not quite the damage I was looking for. But we just go again. We go again. So the nice thing is you're stacking a 300% damage proc every single time he attacks. If you have a 200% obelisk or CTP of energy or whatever, and you have a you have the 100% on his 4th skill. So yeah, they did Ock so well, man. They did Ock so well. High burst damage, very easy rotation, and great survivability. He basically combines all of... Oh, I forgot the 3rd skill there. My bad. Not playing to the best of my abilities at the moment, but Dr. Octopus really doesn't care about that. He still dominates. Yeah, look at that damage, bro. Look at that damage. You can even splash in the 2nd skill afterwards, although it's not gonna hit as hard. Yo, no shot. We skipped that phase. Sick. Absolutely sick. Yeah, look at that. You still get almost a bar's worth of damage in the, like, 1.5 seconds from him queuing up into the dragon phase. So the nice thing about Dr. Octopus, lots of burst damage. It's not like you need to wind up the skill, right? It's not like you need to wait until the end of the rotation to see the damage. It happens right away. So you just get this super high burst of damage right away, unless your damage proc doesn't activate because you cursed it by bragging about how good his burst damage is. I swear to God, dude. Whenever I talk about his burst damage or how easily he procs, the next rotation he just suffers and he just doesn't want to proc. But yeah, Dr. Octopus is so tanky too. Like, this is another thing that I really like about the character. Despite how ugly his character model is, he's so tanky. He's so tanky. So he gets here with 2 minutes to spare, which is insane, right? Actually insane that he does that with that much time left. Now, I don't think we want to risk this one. We might still die. Oh, we died. Oh my god. I cannot stop dying in this null phase. It's fine. It doesn't matter. He was gonna clear the stage for sure anyways. It's fine. But yeah, that's Dr. Octopus. One more thing I want to highlight, which I've sort of mentioned briefly throughout the video, is that Dr. Octopus basically covers multiple days of ABL in one package. So I don't have content to show you of this because I haven't tier 4'd him, obviously, to use him in ABL. But he covers the days of ABL that you would otherwise have to use a combination of Hulk and Moon Knight, or, you know, Namor and Venom, or whatever the case may be. Because Dr. Octopus is available for the days where you need a male human, and he's available for the days where you need, a combat male human, and the days that you need a combat villain, right? Because for the combat male human, you can't use Namor. And Moon Knight is by far the best option on those days, with, you know, Carnage and Venom being a bit of a distant second, and then Hulk being a distant third. And so if you are pushing your scores, until Dr. Octopus, you were using Moon Knight on one of the days, right, as a combat male human, and then you were using Namor on one of the other days as a combat villain, right? But you couldn't use Namor for both days because he's not human. Now, Dr. Octopus, not only does he score higher than Namor, and he also scores higher than Moon Knight, and then, of course, higher than Venom and Carnage and Hulk. So he's the highest scoring combat type for ABL. And then you can still max out ABX with other characters. But he also is able to double dip. He's able to do both days. So you essentially don't have to build either one of those characters. So if you already have them, it becomes less of a value proposition because you are still gaining score, but you know, you're sort of shutting down two for the sake of one. But if you're still getting into ABL and ABX and stuff like that, and you haven't already built Namor to tier 4, you haven't already built Moon Knight to tier 4, then Dr. Octopus is far and away the best option, right? So he's one of the best combat types, but he also has a lot of value in the ability to replace multiple combat types, which is a really important key factor. But again, it also depends on your roster. So I just wanted to put that in the video as well. Ultimately, I don't know if I'm going to tier 4 him just because I hate the way he looks, but he basically ticks every other box, right? Highly versatile character with lots of really good stages to be used on in World Boss Legend. High survivability, high damage, easy to play, and then also has massive utility in ABX, ABL. So the only game mode that he really struggles in, I would say, is GBR, at least from what I've heard, compared to other combat types. But in general, combat types struggle in GBR, right? Like how impressed we were with tier 3 level 70 Moon Knight in GBR sort of goes to, or sorry, not Moon Knight, Venom, goes to show you how little we expect of the combat class in GBR in general. None of them are really used for speed clears, even like Namor, right? Because, you know, well, pre-nerf Hulk maybe, but that's sort of like another thing altogether. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of Dr. Octopus. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.